Okay, this is Jedi here. I'm here to talk about one thing and one thing only. There's been a lot of venom going around about this one thing that I'm about to talk about here, and including among gamers and other people alike. I'm here to talk about this one system that is very, very overlooked and underrated among gamers and people alike. Including, since there's been a lot of venom that's spread around since, like, other reviewers such as the Angry Video Game Nerd and among others that have spread some really bad words about this system. What system am I going to be talking about, you might ask? It's not really a system, but it's an add-on to the Sega Genesis. And as you know, this is the Sega CD, as you know. As you know, Sega CD came out around 1992 or so, 1993, in the early to mid-90s and things like that. And this thing was supposed to be was designed to make Sega on top of Nintendo. Because if you remember, Genesis and Super Nintendo were pretty much at a stalemate. You know, no company was winning over the other. So Sega designed to make the Sega CD to overtake Nintendo as a top dog. But as you know, the type of games that were really advertised for this system were FMV games. And as you know, as history shows, FMV games flopped. And therefore people automatically think that the system was shit, you know. But there were some overlooked games that were on the Sega CD that are well worth owning, and that you cannot find on any other system or any other platform, and things like that. So here, today, I'm here to tell you about some of these games, and if you do own a Sega CD, or you're thinking about buying a Sega CD, some of the games that are really worth playing and are really worth your time, and things like that, you know. And this thing ain't going to involve any FMV games at all. I mean, these are just pure games that are just no FMV games and things like that. Just pure ass-kicking games, okay? So, I'm here to debunk some of the bad reputation for the Sega CD and things like that. So, I'll take you back in time to the mid-90s, early to mid-90s, and I'll show you some pretty good classics that are well worth playing or well worth owning on the Sega CD. So, let's travel back, people.
Let's start off with a good classic shoot 'em up, shall we? This one's called Bar Yarn, or here known in America as Android Assault. This game is your basic shoot 'em up and things like that, just like games like Greatest or Life Force. And as you can see right here, like many Sega CD games, this one has full motion video in the beginning of the game. Here's the gameplay of the game. And as you're seeing on screen, this game plays sort of like games like Greatest, Life Force, R-Type, any kind of arcade shoot 'em up back in the day. You can collect power-ups, you can collect different sub-weapons, other weapons and things like that. But as you can see, if you collect enough power-ups, you can transform into a transformer. I'm not really sure what it's called in the game, but what you need to know is that once you're in the transformer form, you can take 2 hits. Once you take a hit from your transformer form, you go back to being in your ship form. But like I said before, if you're a big fan of Greatest, Life Force, R-Type, any arcade shoot 'em up, you'll be sure to eat this game up. And also, this game has got a really kick-ass soundtrack. The soundtrack, and like in most games and Sega CD games, as Sega CD was known for like really kick-ass soundtracks back in the day, because they were trying to boast the whole the CD technology with the nice music comparing to cartridges, all that. So the soundtrack is what makes this game really stand out. The soundtrack in this game is really, really great. And also, this game is pretty difficult as well. Like in most shoot 'em up games, shoot 'em up games have a reputation of being kind of difficult at times, but at the same time they're fun. It's a fun challenging, you know. So any of you shoot 'em up fans, you can adjust your difficulty from easy, normal, hard, mania for any of you shoot 'em up experts out there. But pretty much, this game pretty much speaks for itself. So if you're a shoot 'em up fan, you be sure to pick this one up. And plus, this game is pretty cheap. This game goes for only about $8 to $10 on eBay. This game is pretty cheap compared to some of the other Sega CD games that I'm here to talk about. So, shoot 'em up fans, I recommend this for you. Are you people ready for a good old arcade classic? If you already know by the opening screen, you already know what's coming up next. Final Fight CD, baby. The best port of Final Fight to date. It kicks the shit out of the Super Nintendo port any day of the week. You don't want to know why? It has all three guys, unlike the Super Nintendo version, which they had to actually make two versions of the same game. Final Fight with Cody and Hanger, and Final Fight Guy with Guy and Hanger. As you can see, the colors aren't the best in this game, but the soundtrack and the gameplay make up for that. The colors and things like that are a bit washed out in certain points, especially with some of the characters, but as far as the gameplay goes, the gameplay and the soundtrack are just awesome, and they're just as good as you remembered it. And also, this game has all the levels as well, because if you ever played the Super Nintendo version has they cut out a level completely. I believe they cut out the Industrial Park level. This game has all 6 levels in their entirety. And as you can hear from the soundtrack is just gorgeous. Hell, for the Sega CD disc, you can just take the CD out and just listen to the soundtrack directly on the CD. Because like a lot of old Sega CD games, they had separate music tracks for each of the songs. So you can use this as a music CD as well. Here's the part of the game that I've always enjoyed about this game and Street Fighter 2. Beating the shit out of the cars. I've always enjoyed this part. I just like to do that in real life. Just walk up to a car and just punch the shit out of it. Just punch all the windows out, break everything. How would he be able to bend a whole freaking like car hood just with his bare fist or something? I know I'm not gonna be able to get it this time. I know that for a fact. My fucking timer's running out. I knew that was happening. That sucks. I won't hear the guy say, "Oh my car!" Man, I still beat the shit out of his car. He doesn't say it though. That sucks. Well, anyway, long story short, if you're a fan of if you played any of the arcade versions of Final Fight, or if you played the Super Nintendo version, this game is a well worth get. Some people debate whether this game or the Game Boy Advance game is the best Final Fight port. The Game Boy Advance port is a very good port of the Final Fight game, but this one has a way better soundtrack. The soundtrack for the Game Boy Advance game is not nearly as good as this one. This is probably the best port of Final Fight ever. Alright, enough talking about that. Beat 'em up fans, try out this game. It's well worth at least a play. Now it's time to take a break from the action genre for a little while. Now to realm into the world of role-playing people. Any of you RPG gamers out there, Sega CD has plenty full of RPGs out there. This is one of them. One of Sega's most famous RPGs ever to date is the Shining Force series. And here is Shining Force CD. Shining Force is probably the biggest name next to Phantasy Star in terms of RPGs on the Sega Genesis platform. And they released Shining Force CD on the Sega CD. From a graphical standpoint, Shining Force CD looks just about on par with Shining Force 2, which is not a bad thing because Shining Force 2 has some pretty good graphics for a Sega Genesis game. And this game, as you can tell, has a re-enhanced soundtrack which sounds very, very well for a game like this. It has an orchestral soundtrack that makes it sound a bit more medieval, and it makes it sound and it's really appropriate with the game, you know. And as far as the gameplay goes, the gameplay is pretty much the same from Shining Force 1 and Shining Force 2. The main difference is that this game has 4 books to go through. There's 4 different stories throughout each book, and you play as a different character throughout each book. And as far as I know, this game is a remake of the 2 Sega Game Gear Shining Force games. So pretty much you're getting 2 games in one. So this game has plenty of replay value in it. But if you've never played any Shining Force game before, don't feel left out, okay? You can easily pick up this game and start playing. You really don't need to play any of the previous Shining Force games to really experience this game. And as you know, if you ever played like games like Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Battle, among those games, pretty much it follows the same formula, except that you have different classes. You have your monks, you have your mages, you have your archers, you have your knights, who can throw spears. You have your warriors, are pretty much your dwarf warriors and things like that. Your dwarves that attack with your axe, and then you have your main guy, who you are. And usually he's a swordsman, usually. And the warriors and the knights cannot cast spells, but the mages can, and so can your main guy. Your main guy can usually learn spells later on in the game. He can learn different things like bolt and like other spells like that. And as you can see, the little battle sequences when they attack you, this is what it looks like when they attack you. And there's like these little different tunes that when they attack, and then when you attack, it's a different like sound or a different tune to it. It really fits the game very, very well. Alright, now I'm going to cast Blaze on this bat. Blaze 1's not really all that impressive, but as you get up higher levels, you can increase your magic levels to Blaze level 2, level 3, even up to level 4, which then you can attack multiple enemies at one time. And here, as you can see with an archer, you can attack from 2 or 3 spaces away. So this game is very similar to games like Tactics. It kind of plays like a game of chess. So if you ever played games like Final Fantasy Tactics, Ogre Battle, games like that, you should really try out this game. Even if you never played Shining Force or Shining Force 2 before. You can just start, pick a plan and things like that. So, but a big contrast to this, to the other Shining Force games of the series, is that in this game you can't explore around town. This game kind of follows the Shining and Darkness approach. You pretty much can only go to set places such as camp, shop, and exit out of the town. And when you go back to camp, you can ask from anything to advice for the next battle or what you need to do. You can also revive your guys. Like if your guys get killed in battle, you can use them to revive your guys. You can also cure like poison and curses and things like that. And you can also promote your guys. Like after you reach upon level 20, that you can promote your guys to a higher level, which therefore like you get better attacks, and also you can get stronger magic and things like that. And also you can also ask, and also you can like, and as you get more guys in the game, like as you get more and more guys in your Shining Force, that's what your army is called, the Shining Force. Pretty much you can change out guys. Like you can have guys that you don't want in your party, take them out and put guys that you just recently joined the Shining Force into your party. You can only hold 12 guys per fight. You can only have 12 of your guys fighting at one time. So you're not going to be using all your guys. So pretty much you have to be, you want to have your strongest guys in your party, you know. And as well, you can go to the shop. You can also buy items. You can buy antidotes. You can buy herbs. And also you can check on your status of your guys. You can check on what they have equipped or what magic spells they currently learned and things like that. Alright, now I'm here in the shop. As you can see, you can buy different weapons from short swords to spears to axes, as well as other items among like antidotes, healing seeds, herbs. Pretty much the same items that were in the previous Shining Force games all make an appearance here. So in closing, if you're a fan of like tactical RPGs, or if you want to give RPGs a tactical RPG a try, this game is well worth a play. The only drawback about this game is that this game is pretty expensive in terms of the other Sega CD games. It's not as much as Snatcher, but this game goes well over about $50 to $60 up on eBay usually. But if you don't want to buy the game, hey, there's always emulation out there to try out the game and things like that. So if you want to play, like if you're a big fan of the Shining Force games, or if you're a fan of tactical RPGs in general, by all means, play this game. You will not be disappointed. This game gives plenty of replay value to it. I mean, probably this game you probably be spending like at least a good 50 to 60 hours worth of gameplay on this game. So, Jedi recommends this. The next game needs no introduction. The next game is arguably the most known game on the Sega CD. Whenever someone says the same Sega CD, they automatically think of this game, Sonic the Hedgehog CD. And some people even say that this game is the best Sega Sonic game ever. That's a bit debatable. Me personally, I think Sonic 2 is the best one because I think the gameplay in Sonic 2 was a bit better than the Sonic CD. I thought the spin dash in this game was a bit on the broken side, which is a major letdown because the spin dash works so well in Sonic 2. Why didn't it work well in this game? Well, anyway, this game does introduce some pretty neat concepts. In this game, you can actually travel back in time. You can travel into time, you can travel into the past, into the future. and things like that. Like in most Sonic games, like a lot of old Sonic games, like Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, if you make it to the goal with 50 rings or more, and you can hit the big ring on top of the sign, then that'll take you to a special stage. The special stages in this game are very, very unique. The special stages are pretty innovative for their time, and they show what graphics that the Sega Genesis / Sega CD hardware can pull off at the time. And this is some of Sega's early attempts of pseudo 3D at the time. Pretty much you're in a free roaming environment, and your object is that you have to take out all these UFOs. And there are 6 UFOs in this level. There's more in the later levels, in the later special stages, and you have to do it within the time limit. And if you step out of bounds, then you eat up more time. So therefore, yeah, it's a race against time. You have to destroy all the UFOs. And in this game, instead of getting Chaos Emeralds, you get Time Stones. And in order to get the best ending in this game, you have to get all 7 Time Stones. If you don't get all 7 Time Stones, you can still beat the game, but you won't get the best ending in the game. I mean, you have to admit, this has some pretty good graphics for its time. For a Sega Genesis hardware and things like that, this game had some really neat graphics. This is state-of-the-art back in 1993. Not to mention that the music was really, really great in this game. Like in a lot of Sega CD games, the music just steals the whole game. This music is just what makes the game stand out. Alright, now I finally kill all the UFOs now. And now this is where you get the Time Stone. Yeah, beaches. Got the Time Stone. And also in the Time Stones, you can also get extra lives as well. And in the special stages as well. Now I'm going to travel back in time, okay? Now I'm going to show you the spin dash. The spin dash in this game is pretty broken in this game. The spin dash in this game could have been done a whole lot better in my opinion. Alright, now I'm going to build up speed. Now I can travel back in time, okay? Now I'm going to travel back into the past. This is one of the best screens in the game, okay? And when you go back into the past or future, the environment changes as well as the stages. Like, the basic platforms will still be the same, but there's different factors in the platforms. Like a platform may move or may not move if you go back to the future or not. And as well as you can probably guess, the music changes as well. So this game did introduce some pretty neat concepts for its time. It wasn't just a straight through Sonic the Hedgehog game where you just run through the game straight through. And this game, just like the game Sonic games before, this game captures the same sense of the word speed. Like in mostly any other Sonic game, Dr. Robotnik is always there at the end of each level to prevent you from foiling his plan. And of course, in this game, instead of you freeing animals, you free plants in this game. Because in this game, you're supposed to save the Earth. That's what the storyline of this game is. That and save your girlfriend, Amy. Well, anyway, enough rambling about that. And, let me show you one neat little thing about this game before I wrap this game up, okay? I'm actually going to sit here and take a little bit of a shit break, okay? You know, look at the time, okay? Well, let me fast forward the shit a little bit, okay? Watch this for a real Kodak moment, people. Watch the time, okay? Watch this. After about hitting 3 minutes, Sonic just says, "Fuck you, I'm out of here, fuck you." And he kills himself. Well, anyway, that's your priceless moment of the day, people. Okay, moving on. Speaking of death, let's talk about a game that involves death. No, not Mortal Kombat. Eternal Champions, Challenge from the Dark Side. This game is an update to the 1993 game that came out onto the Sega Genesis, except that this has a bit of tweaks to the fighting engine, as well as 4 more new characters and a remix soundtrack. The remix soundtrack is a mixed bag. The music sounds great, but it seems a little inappropriate at certain areas. You wouldn't really hear a hard rock sounding music when you're in a prehistoric environment like a volcano back in the prehistoric ages. It just seems a little inappropriate at times. And the fighting engine has gotten some tweaks as well. The fighting engine is a bit more smoother, it's a bit more faster than it was back in the Genesis, and the buttons are a bit more responsive. So it fixed some flaws that were in the original Eternal Champions game. But one thing about this game, just like in the original, this game is very, very tough. This game is not a game that you will not beat in a day. This is one of them kind of games where you have to master this game for like days and days on end. Usually it's one of them kind of games where you just have to master with one character. It's one of them kind of games. But on the plus side, this thing has a wide variety of characters, from your ninjas to your vampire guy that does taekwondo, to your warlock that casts magic spells, to your pirates and things like that. This game has a pretty vast amount of characters, and each character has its own different fighting style. Like you have Shadow here who uses ninjutsu, and you have Midnight here who uses taekwondo along with his other styles. And there's also some people that have a hybrid of a bunch of different styles. So this game implements many different fighting styles within the game, and this game is pretty deep for a fighting game for its day. But the only problem is that due to the high difficulty, a lot of gamers will be turned off by this game. So that's a bit of a letdown for this game. You can adjust the difficulty for the main contest. You can set it to easy on the main contest mode. But even then, it's still very, very tough. It's not a game that you will master overnight. Though it may not be the most original game around here, but this game does show off some pretty cool things in this game. Watch this. Yummy! This game also has stage fatalities, just as the previous one did, the one on the Sega Genesis. The only difference is that in this game has blood in it. So this game did take some things from Mortal Kombat as having stage fatalities. But let me show you one of my favorite things. Let me show you something pretty cool. This is one of my favorite scenes in the game. Die, you son of a bitch! Hey, what a mess!